As he followed me home, I never thought something like this would happen to me. It started out as a regular evening, just a walk home after meeting some friends. The air was cool, the street was quiet, and everything felt perfectly normal, until I noticed him. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. A man walking behind me, maybe headed in the same direction. But the longer I walked, the more I realized, he was matching my pace. Turning when I turned. Slowing down when I did. I tried to shake the feeling, telling myself I was just being paranoid. But deep down, something didn't feel right. He wasn't close enough to say anything, but not far enough to ignore. I glanced back a few times, hoping he'd take a different turn. He didn't. That's when my heart started to race. I took out my phone and pretended to make a call, just to make it seem like someone was expecting me. Still, he kept walking behind me. Not in a rush, not in a hurry, just calmly keeping up. It was like he knew exactly what he was doing. I changed my route, heading toward a busier street. But even then, I could feel his presence. Quiet. Unshaken. Watching. I started to run through all the possible explanations in my head. Was it just bad luck? Or was this man actually following me? That night, what seemed like a normal walk turned into something I'll never forget. And just when I thought I was safe, something happened that confirmed my worst fear. But I'll get to that in a second, because what happened next is the part that still gives me chills every time I think about it. So there I was, standing at the edge of the streetlight, pretending to scroll through my phone, trying not to look panicked. I could still hear his footsteps behind me. Slow. Steady. Like he had all the time in the world. I didn't want to make it obvious that I was scared, but I could feel the fear crawling up my spine. Every time I glanced over my shoulder, he was just far enough away that I couldn't see his face clearly, but I knew it was the same guy. Same dark jacket. Same quiet walk. I crossed the street, hoping the traffic would create some space between us. I waited for a few cars to pass, thinking maybe he wouldn't bother to follow me across. But he did. Without hesitation. That's when I knew, it wasn't in my head. This was real. He was following me. And I had no idea why. Up until that night, I'd never seen him before. I don't know his name. We'd never talked. As far as I knew, we were complete strangers. But the way he moved, like he had some kind of plan, made it all feel personal. Like maybe this wasn't the first time he had seen me. My heart was racing, but I tried to stay calm. I thought about calling someone, but what would I even say? Hey, someone's behind me? It felt silly, but also not. I decided to duck into a small corner store, just to catch my breath and see what he'd do. I stood near the window, pretending to look at snacks, but really, I was watching. And sure enough, he passed by. Slowly. He didn't look in. He didn't stop. Just kept walking. But something about it felt off, like he knew I was watching him, and wanted me to know he wasn't done. I waited a few minutes before stepping back out. The street was quiet again. He was gone. Or at least, I thought he was. I started walking faster this time, cutting through a different alley I knew from growing up in the neighborhood. It was darker, but it was a shortcut. And that's when I heard it again, those same footsteps. Only this time, they were closer. I didn't turn around right away. I just froze. My body went still, like it knew something before my brain could catch up. The alley was tight, no cars, barely any light, and only one way forward. The footsteps behind me weren't dragging or shuffling, they were calm, careful, like whoever it was didn't want to be heard. But I heard them. And they were getting closer. I picked up my pace, almost at a jog now, trying to stay quiet. My mind was spinning. Why was this man following me? Did I do something? Did I look like someone he knew? Or was it something more random, one of those awful stories you hear but never think will happen to you? All I knew was, I had to get out of there. As I turned the corner, I saw an old gate to a backyard I used to cut through when I was younger. It wasn't technically allowed, but right now, that didn't matter. I climbed over, landed awkwardly on the other side, and crouched behind a bush. That's when I saw him again. He walked right past the alley entrance, not looking around, not calling out. Just walking, like he knew exactly where I was going. That's what scared me the most. He wasn't frantic. He wasn't searching. He was steady. Almost too calm. Like he wasn't following me out of impulse, but because he'd planned it. That's when something hit me. This might not have started tonight. What if he'd been watching me before? I started thinking back, had I seen him at the coffee shop? On my train ride home from work? That one time I thought I saw a shadow outside my window? I tried to convince myself I was overthinking. But it was getting harder. I couldn't ignore the signs anymore. After waiting in silence for what felt like forever, I finally made my way through the yard and back to the main road. I texted my friend Mia, asking if I could crash at her place. I didn't feel safe going home. As I waited for her reply, I felt something strange. A shift in the air. And then I saw it, tucked into the side mirror of my parked car across the street. A small folded piece of paper. I stared at the note for a few seconds without moving. It was just sitting there, like it belonged, like someone had taken their time placing it exactly where I would see it. I glanced around quickly, checking both ends of the street. No sign of him. No footsteps. No sound. But I could feel something. That heavy, watching feeling was back. Like eyes on the back of my neck. I didn't open the note right away. My hands were shaking. I didn't know if I even wanted to know what was inside. But I couldn't leave it there either. Slowly, I pulled it from the mirror and unfolded the paper. The handwriting was messy, almost rushed, like whoever wrote it had done it quickly but carefully. It said just 5 words. I know where you live. My heart dropped. There it was, proof. This wasn't random. It wasn't a misunderstanding or a weird coincidence. He had been watching me. My head was spinning. Had I been followed before tonight? Was he waiting outside my apartment when I wasn't home? Was this why I kept feeling like someone was near, even when no one was there? Mia finally texted back, telling me to come over and that she'd leave the door unlocked. I shoved the note in my pocket and rushed down the block, checking over my shoulder every few seconds. I didn't see him, but that didn't make me feel safer. Somehow, the quiet made it worse. Like he was still nearby, just out of sight, waiting for the next move. When I got to Mia's place, I didn't knock. I just slipped inside and locked the door behind me. She was standing in the hallway, confused at first, until she saw my face. I told her everything. The walk, the man, the alley, the note. She tried to stay calm, but I could tell she was scared too. We checked the windows, double-locked the doors, and stayed up just talking. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to close my eyes. Every time I blinked, I imagined him just outside the door. Around 2 a.m., we heard something. A small noise. Not loud enough to panic, but enough to stop both of us mid-sentence. It came from the backyard. We sat completely still, barely breathing. Another sound, closer this time. A faint tapping on the glass, like fingers testing the windowpane. Mia grabbed her phone and whispered that she was calling the police. I crept toward the kitchen where the sound had come from and peeked out through the curtain. There was nothing there. Just the dark yard, still and silent. But as I stepped back, I noticed something on the glass. Another note. Pressed flat against the window from the outside. I didn't open it right away. I didn't need to. Because this time, it had my name on it. Seeing my name written on that note, it was like the ground dropped out from under me. It wasn't just creepy anymore, it was personal. Too personal. I hadn't told anyone where I was going. I hadn't posted anything online. I hadn't shared my location. So how did he know? How did he find me here, at Mia's place? Mia saw the look on my face and rushed over. I handed her the note through the glass without saying a word. She opened the door just a crack, grabbed it, then quickly shut and locked it again. She unfolded the paper slowly, like she was afraid of what it might say. Her eyes scanned the message, and her face went pale. It read, "Don't make me knock." That was it. Just that. 5 words again. But this time, they felt like a threat. A warning. Or maybe a promise. We called the police. Told them someone was stalking me. Leaving notes. Following me. They said someone would be on their way, but the fear didn't wait. It was already crawling through the room like a fog we couldn't shake. Mia and I sat there, backs against the wall, trying to stay calm. Every creak in the house made us jump. Every shadow out the window looked like him. But here's where it got worse. While we waited, Mia checked the outside security camera. She had one installed above the front porch that caught motion clips and stored them on her phone. She started scrubbing through the footage, hoping to catch a glimpse of him. Maybe get a face. Something we could show the cops. But when she played back the last few minutes, we both stopped breathing. There was no one on the porch. No one near the window. No shadow. No movement. Nothing. Except one thing. Around 10 minutes before I got there, the camera showed me, standing on the porch, knocking at the door. But I wasn't there yet. I hadn't even left my car. I was still reading that first note across the street. It wasn't me. It was someone else, wearing the exact same clothes. Same hoodie. Same jeans. Same backpack. From behind, it was identical. We watched the footage over and over. The way he moved. How he stood. It was like watching a stranger act out a part of my life. But it wasn't a mask or a prank. He knew my clothes. My habits. My route. He even knocked like I did, 2 quick taps, then 1 slow. We didn't say anything after that. What could we say? He didn't just know my name. He knew how to be me. And suddenly, I started to wonder, what if this wasn't just about following me? What if he was trying to replace me? We barely had time to process what we saw on the camera before the doorbell rang. Just once. Not loud. Just a soft, almost polite ring. But it echoed through the house like a warning shot. Mia grabbed her phone, ready to call the police again, but I stopped her. I don't know why, I just needed to see who it was. I moved toward the front door as quietly as I could and peeked through the peephole. He was standing there. Same clothes. Same posture. Same bag slung over one shoulder. But it wasn't a reflection. It wasn't a glitch. It was me. Or someone who looked so much like me it made my skin crawl. He didn't knock again. He just stood there, smiling. A calm, eerie kind of smile like he knew how this would end. I backed away from the door, heart slamming in my chest. The police still hadn't arrived. I didn't know how much longer we had. That's when Mia whispered something that made it all worse. My phone's dead. It didn't make sense. Her phone was fully charged 20 minutes ago. I checked mine. Same thing, black screen. No power. Both phones, dead at the same time. I rushed to the back door, ready to run, but froze when I saw a note slid under it. I picked it up with shaking hands. You can't run from yourself. That was it. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just someone who looked like me. He wanted to become me. Take my place. And he was getting closer. Then headlights flooded the front window. A car pulled up fast, brakes screeching. Finally, the cops. I flung open the door and pointed at the guy still standing there. But he was gone. Vanished. Not even footsteps on the sidewalk. The officers searched the area but found nothing. No prints. No signs of a break-in. Nothing on the cameras after that moment. It was like he'd never been there. They told me it was probably a case of mistaken identity. Maybe a prank. Maybe stress. But I know what I saw. And later that night, when I got home, there was one last note under my pillow. See you soon. I didn't sleep that night. Even with the police patrolling the street and every door in my apartment locked, I couldn't shake the feeling that he was still out there. That maybe he never left. The note under my pillow, see you soon, was the last thing I expected. How had he even gotten inside without setting off anything? That question haunted me the most. It meant this wasn't over. Not really. In the days that followed, I changed everything. I switched apartments. I deleted all my social media. Got a new phone number. Even started dressing differently, like I was trying to become someone else before he could do it for me. Mia and I stayed in touch, but we both kept things quiet. We didn't talk much about what happened. Maybe we were both afraid saying it out loud would bring him back. The security footage never turned anything up. The police couldn't find a match for the man on the video. It was like chasing a shadow. Some of them hinted that I might have imagined parts of it, stress, paranoia, or some kind of identity-related episode. But I know what I saw. Mia saw it too. And then, just when life started to feel normal again, I got a message from an old coworker. It was short. Just a link to a news article and 3 words, "Is this you?" I clicked it. The story was about a man who'd been arrested 2 towns over for trespassing and loitering near someone's home. He had no ID. Refused to speak. But the photo included in the article stopped me cold. It was him. Same face. Same clothes. But he looked different now, like someone who'd forgotten who he really was. Like someone who'd worn someone else's life for too long and got lost in it. They said he had a small notebook with names and routines, mine included. Even Mia's. That was the end of the story, officially. He was taken into custody, no one pressed charges, and he was transferred to a psychiatric facility. But here's the thing. I still check my windows every night. I still keep a bag packed, just in case. Because even though they say he's locked away, I keep thinking about that last note. See you soon. And I wonder if he still plans to.